I want you to meet Robert. He's 67 years old, spent 38 years working in manufacturing outside of Cleveland, Ohio. He never missed a shift, he raised 2 kids, paid his mortgage, kept the lights on. He did everything society told him to do. He worked hard, he stayed loyal, and he waited for retirement. And now that retirement is here, Robert is still working. Not because he wants to, not because he loves the job, but because he genuinely cannot afford to stop. His Social Security check comes in at $1,480 a month. His rent is $1,050. That leaves him $430 for groceries, utilities, medications, and everything else life costs in 2025. Robert's not bitter about it. He's just tired, and he cannot figure out what he did wrong. The answer, as painful as it is that Robert didn't do anything wrong. Robert did exactly what his generation was told to do. But the system Robert trusted has been quietly breaking down for decades, and nobody sent him the memo. And here's the thing that should concern every single person watching this video right now. Robert is not an outlier. Robert is the majority. According to a January 2026 survey, the typical American retiree today has an average of just $288,700 saved, barely a third of what retirees themselves say you need to retire comfortably. And about 29% of current retirees report having no money saved at all, zero. A Bankrate survey from 2025 found that 3 in 5 American workers, 58%, openly admit their retirement savings are behind where they should be. And 37% of those workers say they're not just a little behind, they're significantly behind. That's not 8% of Americans. That's more than half already raising their hand and saying they know they're in trouble. When you account for the people who don't even realize how far behind they are, the picture gets darker. 2/3 of current retirees, 64%, say the United States is already in a retirement crisis, not headed toward one, in one right now. And a 2025 retirement survey found that 18% of adults over 60 say they will never retire. Not that they're delaying it, that they have accepted in their 60s that retirement is simply not going to happen for them. This is the reality that most financial media glosses over with vague advice about saving more and starting early, as if the problem is just that people don't know they should save. The problem is a broken system, deeply ingrained psychology, and decades of structural shifts that have stacked the deck against the average American worker. Today, we're going to break all of it down. The real numbers, the psychology traps that are keeping people broke in retirement, and what you can actually do right now to make sure you are not Robert at 67. Let's get into it.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Andrew Finance, the channel where we talk about real money in real America. No sugarcoating, no fluff. If you're watching for the first time, hit subscribe right now because we put out financial content every week that is genuinely designed to change how you think and act with your money. If you've been here before, drop a comment and tell me, are you on track for retirement? Be real with yourself. Let's get into it. So let's start with the system itself, because if you want to understand why most Americans are heading toward a retirement disaster, you need to understand how we got here and why the old playbook no longer works. The retirement system most Americans grew up trusting was built on 3 legs: a pension from your employer, Social Security from the government, and personal savings. For your parents' and grandparents' generation, that 3-legged stool was mostly solid. Employers provided defined benefit pensions that paid a guaranteed monthly check for life, no matter how long you lived. Social Security covered basic living expenses, and personal savings, whatever you managed to set aside, was the bonus on top. Today, that stool is down to one shaky leg for most Americans. Pensions have almost completely disappeared from the private sector, replaced by 401k plans that shift all the investment risk, all the decision-making, and all the discipline requirements from the employer onto the worker. And here's the brutal reality of that shift. Most workers are not equipped to manage their own retirement portfolios. They don't know how much to contribute, how to allocate investments, or how to avoid the emotional mistakes that destroy long-term returns. Then there's Social Security, which is facing its own crisis. The Social Security Trustees' 2025 annual report confirmed that the program's trust fund is projected to be depleted within roughly 8 years, and when that happens, beneficiaries could face an automatic 23% cut to their benefits. For someone like Robert receiving $1,480 a month, a 23% cut means losing about $340 every single month. On a budget already stretched to the bone, that is catastrophic. And here's the demographic reality that makes all of this worse. There are more retirement-aged Americans than ever before in history. The number of Americans aged 60 to 69 more than doubled between the early 2000s and 2024, reaching over 40 million people. The system is being asked to support more retirees than it was ever designed to handle, at exactly the same moment that its financial foundation is cracking. This is not a personal failure story. This is a structural problem that was decades in the making. But that doesn't mean individuals are powerless. It means individuals have to be smarter, faster, and more intentional than any previous generation because the safety nets their parents relied on are either gone or severely weakened.
Now, let's talk about the human side of this, because the system being broken doesn't fully explain the retirement crisis on its own. There are specific, well-documented psychological patterns that are quietly sabotaging millions of Americans' retirement futures, often starting in their 20s and 30s when the consequences feel distant enough to ignore. The first and devastating trap is present bias. This is one of the most well-established concepts in behavioral economics. The human brain naturally places much higher value on rewards available right now versus rewards available in the future, even when the future reward is objectively larger. Retirement feels abstract, distant, and honestly a little depressing to think about at 28 or 35. Your rent is due right now. Your car payment is real right now. Your social life costs money right now, so the $200 a month you could be putting into a 401k gets reprioritized toward things that feel real and immediate. And because this pattern repeats month after month, year after year, the compound growth that could have built real retirement security never gets started. Here's why that matters so much more than people realize. Compound interest is brutally time-sensitive. $200 a month invested at 7% annual returns starting at age 25 grows to roughly $525,000 by age 65. The same $200 a month starting at age 40 grows to only about $122,000. Same money, same discipline. A 15-year delay cuts your outcome by nearly 77%. Present bias costs people hundreds of thousands of dollars in future wealth, and they never feel the hit until it's too late to reverse. The second trap is what psychologists call optimism bias in financial planning. Surveys consistently show that Americans dramatically overestimate how much they'll be able to save in the future, always assuming that next year will be the year they finally get serious. The raise is coming, the debt will be paid off soon, the kids will be out of the house, and then things will free up. This future self-thinking is a cognitive escape hatch that relieves current guilt without producing any actual action. Studies have found that a shocking 19% of adults ages 60 and older have saved nothing at all for retirement, and a large portion of those people spent their 40s and 50s telling themselves they'd catch up later. The third trap is Social Security over-reliance. A 2025 Transamerica Retirement Survey found that Social Security is the primary income source for retirees with household incomes below $50,000. Many workers, especially those in lower to middle income brackets, have been quietly banking on Social Security to cover their retirement, even as the program's financial foundation has been deteriorating publicly for years. This isn't laziness, it's trust. trust in an institution that has always been there before. But the math doesn't support that trust anymore, and anyone who hasn't done the actual calculation of what their Social Security benefit will cover versus what their actual monthly expenses are is walking toward retirement with their eyes closed.
So here's the part that matters most, because none of this information helps you if it just makes you feel anxious without a clear path forward. Let's talk about what you can actually do right now, regardless of where you are starting from. The first move is the most urgent. Find out exactly where you stand today. Go to SSA.gov and check your projected Social Security benefit. Log into your 401k or IRA and look at the actual balance and your actual contribution rate. Use a retirement calculator and plug in your real numbers. Most people avoid this because it feels scary, but you cannot fix a problem you haven't measured. The moment you see the real number, even if it's uncomfortable, you have something concrete to work with. The second move is to increase your 401k by just 1% right now, today, before you close this video. Research consistently shows that 1% feels small enough that people actually do it, but compounded over decades, it makes a meaningful difference. If your employer offers any match and you're not capturing the full match, that is the single highest return financial move available to you. It is literally free money being left on the table every month you don't claim it. The third move is to open a Roth IRA if you don't already have one. In 2025, you can contribute up to $7,000 a year or $8,000 if you're 50 or older. A Roth IRA grows tax-free, and withdrawals in retirement are tax-free, which is especially powerful if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket later or if tax rates rise in the future, which many financial observers believe is likely given current government debt levels. The fourth move, and this is especially for people who are 45 or older and feeling behind, is to seriously consider working with a fee-only certified financial planner, not a commission-based advisor, to build a real retirement plan with real numbers. A fee-only planner charges you directly for their advice and has no incentive to push products. The cost of 1 or 2 sessions with a genuine professional is almost certainly less than the cost of the mistakes you'll make without one. As for Robert from Cleveland, his story doesn't have to be yours, but it will be for millions of Americans unless they stop treating retirement like something that works itself out. It doesn't work itself out. The data in 2026 makes that painfully clear. The system is not coming to save you. Social Security is under pressure, pensions are gone. The 401k only works if you actually use it correctly, and use it for decades. The people who retire comfortably aren't necessarily the ones who made the most money. They're the ones who took the math seriously early enough for the math to work in their favor. That's a wrap on today's video. If this hit close to home, please share it with someone you care about, a parent, a sibling, a friend who never talks about retirement. It might be the most useful thing they watch this year. Hit the like button and subscribe to Andrew Finance if you're not already part of the family, because we've got more videos coming that will help you build real financial security in a system that is not designed to do it for you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's your biggest retirement fear right now? I read every single one. See you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay building.